Alia's audition, and she was amazing. I just couldn't get over because she was such a natural.
She's
really
born
good.
for it.
Yeah.
And she's born for this role.
Yeah. I got an amazing opportunity to work with on Life of Pi, Ang Lee and his group. It was fantastic.
Creative.
Soft, gentle, kind. Yeah. I got my first job as a casting director on Lakshya, which was directed by Farhan Akhtar.
What was that experience like?
You know, I was very fortunate that it was a very supportive office and I had a very wonderful director. In Gully Boy, we had to audition for this role and I called in good actors.
Nandini Shrikent,
Yes.
casting director. Fantastic job title.
Mm.
Please tell me what a casting director does. I know that your role is incredibly important as a technician of a film. You can make or break a film with your casting choices. So tell me what casting is about.
First of all, thank you for having me on your talk show.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
And thanks for the lovely introduction. Let me start by saying that casting is very collaborative. So, though it sounds very powerful and that I can make or break a film and all, it's a collaborative. There's a lot of input from the director, sometimes the producer, my team. There's a lot of people who come together to create a very good cast. But it's fun to spearhead this particular department.
Yeah. But you started differently. You started as an assistant director?
Yeah. I started as an AD on a film called Takshak with Mr. Govind Hilani. I did a course in Saphire's SCM, Social Communications and Media, and that basically, after that course, you choose which field you want to go into, whether it's film, journalism, PR, advertising. So I chose film, and I got a job with Govindji, and that was my first time on a set, like as a professional. Really didn't know what was happening.
And how many years ago
Yeah.
was that?
So that was 1999. Yeah, that was 99.
Okay.
I didn't know what was happening, but it was interesting to see, you know.
So you've spent over 25 years in film.
Yeah.
In some capacity or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. I'm in film because my mother joined a very small organization called Cinemaya, which was an Asian film quarterly that had been started by the mother of Indian cinema, Aruna Vasudev, who was just amazing. And it was a magazine about Asian cinema, not Bollywood, but Asian cinema before Asian cinema was cool. So they knew about Wong Kar-wai and Kim Ki-duk and Taiwanese filmmakers way before it had become public, you know.
And you started as a casting director before casting director school.
Yes, I did.
Also.
Yes, I did. So I want to finish this, but my mom. So she started working in this organization, and they started hosting a very small film festival that grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and then became part of Oceans, and it was Oceans Cinefan. As a child of as a Cinemaya baby, I got exposed to a lot of world cinema at a very young age, and very young age as in my late teens and college. So while my friends were partying, I was watching films, and I realized I wanted to work in film. And so that's what happened. And I AD'd on Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, and then which was also marvelous. It was a huge film, and I trained very well under Sharmishta Roy, the production designer, who was fantastic. So I started working in the art department, and I was basically bhatkoing here and there. But I got my first job as a casting director on Lakshya, which was directed by Farhan Akhtar for Excel Entertainment. And
what was that experience like?
You know, I was very fortunate that it was a very supportive office, and I had a very wonderful director. It was his second film,
Yeah.
and he was, there was no pressure.
Mm.
I mean, it took a year. There were 72 speaking characters, but then I never once felt overwhelmed or stressed, or the meetings were never frightening. And I mean,
And
I
it's
was
a
under the
young, youthful set.
young,
Youthful
youthful
director.
office. It was very
Yeah.
cool, the office. They were like, I had able guidance from Zoya Akhtar, who was the EP on the project. Ritesh Sadhwani was, they were all very
Yeah.
relaxed,
Yeah.
and they gave me lunch every day from their home tiffins. And these things mattered to me,
Free food is so important.
especially when you're in your early
Yeah.
20s and you don't live at home,
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so it was so I had time to learn actually
Mm.
on that job. And I went through all their files, which they had from Dil Chahta Hai. It was really good, it was a great way to start. And I feel like if I hadn't had that ease, I wouldn't have continued in casting. But because I got that time to really like stew on it and chew on it, really, it really helped me in my future jobs, which took a very long time to come. It didn't really take off. Most people didn't have casting directors. Most films didn't have casting director. K3G didn't have a casting director. The team did it. So um, it was a slow journey,
Right.
and things took off after.
And that's because the directors knew who they wanted in the film, and it was
So
star oriented. Means why?
so Excel Entertainment was one of the early companies that started following the international system,
Hmm.
where you have a first AD, second AD, and their jobs are very defined. And then you have a casting director who does the casting. So it's not your ADs, it's your casting director who does that part. And let me just add, we don't cast the stars.
Correct.
Much as I would like to say we do, but we
Yes.
don't. Yeah.
But have you had a
And
say?
Sometimes there's a conversation behind closed doors, and I'm privy
Yes.
to it.
Yeah.
But
Where they would ask for your opinion, especially now that you've spent so many years
yes,
in the industry.
yeah. Even earlier, I was fortunate to be in some meetings that were game-changing deciders as such.
Say
And
no.
yeah,
Which ones?
so yeah, lovely, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so you worked on Lunch,
Yeah,
which gave you a great sort of fundamental base
yeah,
to start off from.
yeah. And
And
I used to also work in the art department. I was a set decorator on Born Supremacy and the Darjeeling Limited.
yeah.
That was with Aradhana Seth, who was a great mentor of mine.
And these are
Yeah,
international films.
yeah. It was shot in India. Yeah,
Yes.
super fun to work
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Darjeeling Limited, I also worked with Suzanne Merwanji, who's really amazing. But that watching the art department come together was like, it was nice to end on that. I didn't do art after that, but
Yeah.
casting took off, work started coming, and the good thing was that when I started casting, I got to work with a lot of directors who were also starting off. So, like today, it's been, I think you said 25 years
25
or so.
years, you said
Math is very good.
1999.
Yeah.
And now it's
Yeah.
2026 this
Yeah.
year. So you've been in film for
Yeah.
26 years.
Yeah. I love working in film,
Yeah.
it's
And you've seen
really-
the industry change.
Yes. Yeah.
So post Laksh took some time, but work started coming.
Yes.
You have worked on films and OTT shows,
Yes.
huge ones. Were you also part of the casting process for Student of the Year?
The first one, yes.
The first
Yeah.
one, which is actually the best one, honestly.
Yeah.
So what did you do for Karan there?
Well, we tested many girls, I think about 300 young, lovely girls for the
Yeah.
role, because
Yeah.
the boys were already in place. Varun and Siddharth were already in
Yeah.
place when I got on.
Yeah.
And then, casting is collaborative, because I should say it now at an interview for Shanu.
Yeah.
Because Shanu mentioned to Karan that the Bhatt daughter is looking to act and is very charismatic.
Yeah.
And then I did Alia's audition, and she was amazing.
What did you
She
think
was
as a casting
amazing.
director
After doing
with this girl for the first time?
I couldn't get over it. And I'm not just saying this because now Alia is a big star and all. I just couldn't get over it because she was such a natural. Because they had to dance to Bahara, and she did this beautiful dance. And then there was a scene or two scenes, and she was fantastic and pitch perfect. And I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over it, and I went running to Karan's. And he was, of course, a little more restrained, but I was like, "Yeah,
this is it.
yeah,
She's
really
born
good.
for it,
Yeah,
and she's born for this role.
yeah, yeah."
Have you
And she
felt
was a
that
little
way?
puppet then.
I mean, she still looks like a little
Yeah.
puppet,
Now she's had
but
a baby. I mean, like, it's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm sure when you see each other now,
yeah,
I mean, this is very special for both you and her,
yeah,
right? Because you were also very young in the business, and this was her first.
yeah,
So, these moments are special and quite
yeah.
irreplaceable.
Special for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Then I worked with Zoya Akhtar on her first film. I worked with Ayan Mukherjee on his. Those were really fun. In retrospect, I look back and I'm like, wow, how lovely,
Yeah.
that everyone's had journeys, and, I've been part of some journeys and not part of the others. And it's just lovely that one got to do those Shakun Batras.
Yeah.
These are great. These are lovely directors, but it was lovely to work with them when they were younger, and we were all,
Sort of hungry together and
getting
learning together and growing together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Apart from Alia, have you sat on in an audition and felt an actor is born to act? Apart from Alia, I'm sure all of them are good. Look,
Even Alia is a film kid. It's not like she came from a different city and I auditioned her and I said an actor is born. This is this is someone who has a certain lineage and therefore a certain exposure to cinema as it is in the country. I can't answer this question. Yeah, I just can't.
Okay, fine, fair
Because
enough.
I do feel if I do a good audition with anyone, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
well done, you got your pitch right.
And that actually
Yeah.
just makes you feel like, God, I love my job.
Yeah.
Because you keep discovering talent and seeing talent, or the same talent again, but in a different role.
Yeah. Discovering also, I feel like there are many permutations and combinations that come into it. Okay, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
In Gully Boy, we had to audition for this role, and I called in good actors because it was a good film, good director, good role. So I called it good actors, and one of them hit it out of the park, and then hit it out of the park in the movie. And I mean, his trajectory has changed now. His name is Vijay Varma.
Right, of course. He's amazing.
Like, it's not like I was like a star. Vijay did or had already done his first film into Cannes. Or Cannes, I don't know how to pronounce it right now. His first film was there. He's from FTII. He'd already done a few films that were interesting. So it's not like, oh my God, मैंने उसको discover किया है, but he happened right place, right time. He came in,
right script, right
character, script, right director, right film. Everything just worked. I mean, I really enjoyed Gully Boy. I didn't get to visit the set much and all because I just had my little son had come home, but I was,
an integral part,
shocked, pleasantly thrilled when I saw the film. Not shocked. Yeah.
Okay, so you've also worked with Vicky Kaushal's film Sam Bahadur.
Yes.
You were casting on that.
Yes. Yes.
You've done some international projects. Life of Pi, I think you were.
Yeah, Life of Pi was. I did the casting for Pi as an A.V. Kaufman, who's like an outstanding casting director. She did Succession mostly. I mean, and other stuff with Succession, everyone knows. She's Ang Lee's casting director. They got in touch with me and they said, we want to find Pi. So I got people in 4 or 5 different cities to hunt for Pi. And he eventually came from Delhi. The person who was doing the hunt there was Dilip Shankar. And it was a perfect fit. Suraj really worked. And then we did callbacks in Bombay. And yeah.
What
so I got an amazing opportunity to work on Life of Pi and to wine and dine with Ang Lee and his crew because they came down for the callbacks to meet the shortlisted boys and all. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic.
What was he like? Exacting. Creative.
Soft, gentle, kind. Yeah. And like a good, I'm a Punjabi. I was like a Punjabi khana pina was very important. Our lunch was very excellent and everything was it was very important to eat. He's also made a film called Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. So I have to always say he's Eat, Drink, Man. Yeah.
So, okay. So we'll get into more of what you've done later. I know you've done Made in Heaven. You've done so many.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into a few of those. But okay, so a director calls you up, okay, and says, look, I have a movie, I have a script, I want to start the casting.
Yeah.
Okay, there are 10 characters.
Yeah.
as you said, the star is more or less decided,
Yeah,
or then you collaborate with him and have some closed door discussions even on the stars.
yeah,
Let's say you have three in mind,
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
talk about it,
yeah,
you contact one or two.
yeah.
Okay. Then you have the rest of the supporting cast.
Yeah.
Um, how do you go about it?
So first, the good thing happens, which is a call from the director or
Hmm.
producers. We're like, yes, we've got an interesting job to do. Read the script, break it down, as in make a list of all the speaking parts. And it's very important to sit with the director and understand his or her vision, because sometimes it doesn't, it's not on the same page. So you have to understand who they're thinking of, and what, you read a script and you think this character is like this, but then it's very important to sit with the director and break it down and understand what they're thinking of. And then we start the casting process. Now we don't audition everyone. Obviously, senior actors, it's a conversation, it's a phone call, it's a meeting with the director, etc. And the rest of the people, it's audition, audition, audition till we get the right person for the right role.
And
Sometimes
could
we
it
do
be from
60
anywhere?
auditions. Sometimes it's, yeah,
Sorry, you were saying sometimes it could be.
it could be 60 auditions, and sometimes less, you know.
And this is from all over India. Like, how
No,
does it work? Like, how do you reach out
it's
to?
from here. I mean, now I'm doing a show that's set in Rajasthan. So there's someone in Rajasthan who's been sending us auditions for the smaller but key parts, and we are checking them and then showing them to the director. So it's sort of going through our team. But if it's a Bombay story, then Bombay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like Life of Pi, for example, was an international project.
Yeah.
So for that, you had to hunt beyond Bombay.
Yeah, that I set up satellites in different cities.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
So which means you had point people in different
yeah,
cities,
yeah,
auditioning people for you, and they would
yeah,
come back with the best that they found in their
yeah,
cities.
yeah.
And then you
Then they,
audition the
yeah,
best.
yeah. No, for Pi, we just sent everything to America and they shortlisted it. But over here, like say even Sam Bahadur, there was some stuff that was shot in the Northeast. So then those auditions were sent to us, and one assistant went across and met actors, and so yeah. So if you're shooting out of the city, then yeah, you sometimes cast people from locally, but the key roles are usually from Bombay because most actors live in this hood.
And actually,
You
a lot of
know.
the actors have come from everywhere
Yes.
and settled here.
Yes.
So while you say they're from Bombay, they're actually from everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've also worked with Aryan Khan
Yeah.
on, how do you pronounce it? Is it Bads of Bollywood? Bads of Bollywood?
Bads of Bollywood.
So you also worked with him on casting of that film with
Yeah.
your partner at the time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, my casting partner.
Your casting
Yeah.
partner at the time.
Yeah.
Not your
Not
partner.
not my life
but
partner.
Your life partner is an actor as well,
That's
which I'll get to
right.
later. But with your casting partner at that time.
Yeah.
That was a wild show. I have to say, in the last couple of years, that has got to be in my top 5
Yeah.
shows that I've watched. And I mean that globally and here.
Yeah.
Clever, witty characters.
Yeah.
Like characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What was it like there? And what was the conversation you had with somebody who's so young? Like Aryan Khan is young.
Yeah, but he really knew what he wanted. First of all, hats off to Aryan for the show.
Yeah.
Because I just loved it, Aryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you know, age no bar. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Because
In art, actually in anything in
in
life
anything,
now, right?
yeah. Because when we had our first meeting with Aryan, he narrated the opening of the show,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what I saw. It was exactly he runs like this, he jumps, he falls. He said, Aryan knew his dialogues before we joined. He had everything in his head. He had everything going in terms of his vision.
Yeah.
And we just had to execute it.
Which makes your job so much easier
So
because you have
easy.
so much clarity
Yeah,
of thought
yeah,
to work with.
yeah. And I hadn't even read all the scripts, and I did not know how it ended. He was very, very. He kept that under wraps. I think even the cast only knew the twist before they went on to set and stuff like that. But and he created these characters, and then sort of slowly came into fruition. And
So you
2 years later, we saw the show. Yeah,
it was
so
2
he shot
years.
for a long time. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
How many characters did you cast?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But shows have a lot of characters. Yeah.
Of
It
course.
goes into, I
So
mean,
is that more fun than feature films?
no, I prefer feature films. Yeah.
Mm.
I enjoy doing shows.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's, you know, not that I'm trying to be altruistic, but it's an opportunity for actors to work
Mm.
and an opportunity to showcase their talent. And there's some fabulous shows, and you get to see a lot of good performances. When it was just film before the OTT platforms came in, I used to always feel a bit frustrated that there's so many good actors and uh, like X number of films that are made a year. So when this happened and it opened up, I felt very happy because you've also discovered such good talent thanks to OTT.
OTT.
But um,
Your personal
film is
enjoyment.
film, yeah. It's great fun to do. It's tighter. It's more cohesive.
Does it feel like more of a family unit when you're on a feature film?
No, I've just done a show and I feel very close to the crew, so it's not
Yeah.
that. But it's just that the journey is much smoother, and nobody says no to a film.
Yeah, nobody says no to a
Yeah.
film. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've had instances where you've had to, well, it's not really your job.
Yeah.
You identify the talent,
Yeah.
but sometimes they have to be convinced.
Yeah, no, so that's part and parcel, yeah.
Mm.
And a good script really helps
Yeah.
because a good script, a good production house, a good director, all that really helps. And there's some jobs I don't have to worry at all.
Mm.
I'm Aryan's show,
Mm.
like everyone wanted to be a part of it. We
Correct.
had no problem getting in touch with anybody for the show. They all wanted to be a part of it. Though this was his first job, but I think there was an instinct that everyone had an instinct that this would be an interesting
No, and listen,
one.
he's Shah Rukh's son. At the end
Yeah,
of the day,
but
you do give that some credit in your brain that this
yes,
guy will have expertise
no, for sure,
and
but
vision and funds.
yeah, but he is his own person. I have to
course.
say,
I mean, first of all, he's a director, not an actor, like
yes,
his dad.
yeah,
And his voice and his
yeah,
it's so culturally different
yeah.
and so of this generation.
I mean, what I loved about the show was it was so funny.
It
I
was
miss humor
hilarious.
so much.
It was
Everything is
hilarious.
the world is so serious.
Yeah.
The age I'm at is like a serious time, I feel. So
I
it
hear
was
you.
so good to see something funny and
Yeah. And yet clever.
clever funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
not stupid funny. Yeah.
So I saw a feature on you, a Hollywood Reporter, the important technicians
Yeah.
of India, but you are one of the
Yeah.
important technicians
Thank
of
you.
India.
Thank you.
And I know you said in that interview that I wish supporting actors got paid well.
Yeah, it's a big grouse I have.
Yeah.
Because it's a business,
Yeah.
and in a way, our industry has become a bit. I mean, I'm making up a word, but corporatized. Is that a word?
It is.
It's become very
Or you've made
things
it a
have
word.
become very. Yeah, it's become very corporate.
Yeah.
And I mean, the industry has gone through various phases, so I'm not saying this is a bad phase in that sense, but it is a business. There's one branch of filmmaking that obviously observes it as a business, and in a business you want to save money, but I just feel the performers and the artists have to be looked after because we don't have a union here. So um, people have homes to run and families to look after, and it bothers me that there's so much cost cutting that happens because I know that like the stars get paid wonderfully, and I'm not even getting into the debate about that because a star does sell the films. I'm not getting into that now. I mean, it could be a little less, but let's not go there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that your supporting cast is not important. They also it makes the whole film cohesive. So I do feel very strongly about this as I see it happening. And I mean, of course, on some occasions, I also bargain with actors. It's not that I'm like, give everyone whatever they want. It has to be within the range, but, we should look after our
fraternity.
Cast. Yeah, we should look after our cast a little bit. Yeah.
You've seen the industry change. You just said there's a part of the industry now that's very corporate and cost cutting and saving and all that. But what are the good elements that have come in? For example, it used to be all about the star, and while the star still gets far bigger chunk of the pie, I think the script now has come into its own
Script has always been
as
important.
a hero.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I said the
No.
script has always been important. Look at Sholay. I mean, like, look at all the good films of the past, of your, like, the script is damn important. You have to have a good script. I always say, I say it in interviews, and I got shut down recently, I think, on the round table because I said a good script is a good script is a good script. And they were like, no, marketing is also important. This is also important. That.
Yeah.
But I mean, it starts with the script, yeah. It starts with the script. And,
but you know, there've been, let me look at the dark side of the casting couch.
yeah.
That used to be highly prevalent.
Yeah. Sure, it's still there, darling. It's human nature.
You know, it is, obviously, globally and here.
Yeah.
But you don't think that there's more caution now and more respect for women? Or that's not changed?
I think it's subtler because because now we're all a little more woke. Yeah. So and you know that there were some movements, and you know, there is a little more awareness, and I feel the younger generation is way more aware of their rights, and
yeah,
you know,
won't stand for shit anymore.
Yeah, but there's always a murky side to entertainment. I will, unfortunately, it's a murky side to every industry in a way.
Absolutely.
You know, and power does come into play. So I'm sure it still exists, but everyone can't be so blatant, and that's good. That's good. You know. Yeah.
But
I just want to add one thing, that I was very lucky. I've been working for so many years. Sometimes I was on a set where I was the only woman on set, and never really had a bad experience of any kind, because the set itself is it's got a great energy, and it's everyone's working towards the goal of whatever that shot is, or getting the shoot done for the day, and there's a lot of camaraderie, and it feels, I mean, it can be crazy and it can get hectic, of course, and absurd, but I always found it a very safe space, always. Yeah.
You've worked a lot with Zoya.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Excel,
I'm very
right?
lucky. I keep saying I'm very lucky, not because I am very lucky, because I've gotten to work with her on so many different sorts of films, and she's made some fab films over the years.
I mean,
superb. Yeah.
Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. But for me, even the yacht one,
Dil Dharakne Do,
which
everyone loves in Delhi.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, her take on filmmaking. And would you say that your career so far in casting, have you worked most with Zoya and Excel?
I worked most with Zoya. I worked on a couple of jobs with Rima as well, Rima Kakti, which have been also fantastic. And I did a lot of work for Excel over a particular period of time. And now I work sporadically with them because I'm a freelancer, so I work all over. I had a stint where I did a bunch of films with Dharma as well, Dharma Productions. So,
Correct.
So it comes and goes.
Yeah. What is it
Whoever
like?
calls me, I'm happy to go and work. Yeah.
What is it like working with Karan Johar?
Yeah, he's so charismatic and he's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's really, really
and I
fun
think he
to work with him.
respects people on his set, right?
And he talks to everyone like properly. Yeah. You know, I've done some jobs where producers, I did a job where the producer didn't have a chair across his table. So when we had to go and talk to him, we had to stand, you know, so they've been thinking that none of that in the Dharma, Excel, are fantastic to work. Yeah. But I've worked with many other production houses where I've also had very good experiences. Yeah.
How many films do you know that you've cast for so far?
I have no idea.
Really?
I have no idea. I'm quite boutique though, because some of my peers have done double the number of films I've done. But mujhse itna kaam nahi hota hai.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I think you're also a very hands-on mom.
Yeah.
And you like to make time for
my
that.
son is only 8 years old now. But uske pehle bhi I was quite, I mean, I like to work on X number of projects a year. Otherwise, I would
your
go
creative
crazy.
battery.
I go crazy. Yeah.
Runs out, no? After a while, it becomes monotonous.
Yeah.
And also, I think you do many different things.
Yeah.
Like you're on the jury of the steps in Bandra, currently.
we were on the. That was really fun to choose
Yeah.
the murals. That was a
Yeah.
very short stint,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I think you like to be creative in different ways as well, right?
yeah. When I was younger, I got an opportunity to travel a lot, so I would take breaks.
Yeah.
But a film takes about 6 to 8 months to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prep takes that long. I did this show, Pila, for Netflix, which we started. Our first meeting was year before last, and then we started working in Jan, Feb, and they're shooting now. So it's been a year. So a
So it took
project
a
can take,
year
yeah,
to cast, to
yeah,
prep,
to prep, yeah.
because also a
It
show has many more characters.
many more characters, rewriting, additions, subtraction, so it just takes that long.
Okay, now brass
Yeah.
tacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, when you're talking numbers
Mm.
and what you should be paid in a film or a show, is it based on the number of characters, or is it based on the duration, or is it based on the budget of the film? How does it
A
work?
combination of all three.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a big film, then I tend to charge a specific amount or quote a specific amount. I love doing indie stuff parallel as well. So for that, it's whatever they can
Obviously,
afford. Yeah,
yeah.
that I don't get into. And sometimes it's a shorter shrift, but the time doesn't matter because the work is as hectic. So, but say it's like not a marquee film, like not a bonanza film that's going to like smash the market. Then I charge a little less for that. Because you see, the work you do is the same. You're slogging regardless. And so when I started off, obviously, so I was saying when I had an interview with a very interesting journalist from the Business Standard, and she said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you feel otherwise, but she said that most women go into a negotiation uh, very apprehensively, and most men go into a negotiation with a lot of vigor, looking forward to the back and forth.
You are absolutely right.
And
Women go into negotiations apprehensively, even with their own families.
yeah,
Forget about the outside world.
Yeah.
But even at a dinner table,
yeah,
where there are brothers and sisters, there's a difference in tone of negotiation.
yeah,
Then when you go out in the world, it's even more.
even yeah.
You
And
know?
I'm a firstborn, and quite the. I mean, in the sense that I don't feel like it was that different between my poor brother and me, who I really bullied. Sorry, Karan, but
Yeah.
So I was paid what I thought was my due in my early years, or whatever the production felt was my due, but I never questioned it. It was many years later that I sort of had this awakening that one should charge a little more for the work one is putting in. And it took a while for me to get
to
for
feel
me
confident
to,
enough that you are worth that.
Yes. For me to get on board, basically.
So what do you charge now?
So I'm not going to talk about it.
I just like casually slip
But
it in
let
and
me
get
say-
some sort
Let
of.
me say it's still not enough.
Of course, I'm sure. Because you're fighting for that role to find its importance even today,
Yeah.
and then to negotiate further,
Yeah. And we're first in.
Yeah.
So everyone's really revved up. The production is like green lit. We're going to start this film or this show. And apart from the producer and the executive producer, the next person who comes in, casting.
Yeah.
So they are like, no way, we're not going to be able to afford more than this much or that much.
Yeah.
By the time the shoot starts, money is just being
As more and more different character-led scripts are coming into the fore, even on the big budget space.
I think the role of the casting director is getting more and more appreciated. I think it was always important, but now there's an appreciation and a value for it, because a lot of the work is back end work. A lot of it is a slog. You have to.
So once you audition somebody,
Yeah.
let's say you've auditioned 20 people in a day. Okay.
Yeah.
Will you watch that?
Hoga.
Huh?
Not 20. Say 8 to 10.
No. I'm saying let's say 20 over a week.
Yeah.
Chalo. Will you then also sit and watch their tapes?
Yeah.
That must be such a process.
Yeah, it's a process. It's fun also.
Yeah.
And it can be tedious also, because I want to mark the takes that we send to the director. Then final call is with the director.
Yeah,
I always
of
joke,
course.
I always say that that's why you are the director and we are just mere casting people, because sometimes I,
So you will also mark out
yeah,
that exact bit of the audition that you want the director to.
yeah,
So you really have to watch it end to end
yeah,
and sort of,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that takes many hours.
That takes hours, and what was I saying? Sometimes I like too many people, and I'm like, no, you decide, because
Yeah.
they're all very
Yeah.
good. You know, I
But
find
tell
that
me,
final decisiveness very hard, to be
yeah,
honest.
of
Yeah,
course, because you know what you're
yeah,
doing for somebody's
yeah,
sort of future, right? On some
yeah,
level.
yeah.
Does that feel like a big responsibility?
Um, Now it's become part and parcel
Yeah,
of my
yeah.
life. So
But
yeah,
when you
yeah.
enter when you enter a party and you're a casting director, and there are
Nobody recognizes
stars
me.
A,
I'm very
B,
lucky.
C, D, all levels, okay?
Nobody recognizes me. I'm constantly introducing myself, and they're like, "Oh."
Because I can't
Let's
imagine
go
that
out
people
that
are
much.
not making a beeline for you. I'm not talking about the stars.
Yeah,
I'm talking about people who are trying to be in the
yeah.
business, who are auditioning actively.
I mean, most actors know that, like, they'll get work that is their due, so
Yeah,
they're wonderful. I'm also married to an actor, so I meet a
yeah.
lot of actors socially. So
But tell me
yeah,
now, your husband is an actor,
yeah.
okay? He's an incredible actor. So I love
Oh,
what he
that's
did on the
sweet.
Masaba show and
Yeah,
all that as well. Talented theater actor, etc.
yeah,
But you are casting director.
yeah,
Your husband is actor.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the jokes I have heard about the casting couch, unbearable.
Because it is an in-house casting
Yeah,
couch, right? Your
yeah,
couch at home is your casting couch.
yeah. So we barely work together,
Yeah.
and I feel I really cut his patta. I feel very bad about it. I feel like I have to make calls to other my peers in the casting community and say, please give him, don't forget him, because
Yeah.
I find it very hard to give him work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you
I
find
haven't
that
made any calls yet, but I feel
yeah.
maybe I should, because
Yeah.
I guess everyone expects me to give him. But the projects we worked on together, the director and the producer have called him, and I haven't.
Because
It's
I would
weird, yeah,
imagine,
yeah,
that that feels a bit strange to you
yeah,
to make a call and say, "Will you cast my husband?" Or
yeah, yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
he fortunately has his own journey and his own. I love this word trajectory. Clearly, I've used
it
it
is
thrice, but
trajectory, and
yeah,
he's super
and he's
talented.
very good.
So
So yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Um, can you think of a character that you've cast that has just wildly surpassed your imagination and surpassed your expectations, where you've said, "Wow, I've done a great job," and so is he or she?
I refuse to say I've done a great job, because it's so collaborative. Final
Okay.
decision is with the
So
director.
where you
Team
have
has helped me so much.
collaborated on greatness,
Yeah.
where would you, I mean, are there
Uh,
characters like that that have really
just
stuck?
can't answer this question. But
Hmm?
I do feel everyone I cast is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
If they hit it,
Okay,
if
let's say
they
in the
hit the
last
thing.
2 years. Let's make it easy for you.
You know who I loved was Divik Sharma in Bads of Bollywood. He
Yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah. Crazy.
yeah,
Yeah. That's a crazy
he was
character.
Shomik. Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to remember his, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what Aryan was going to make him do. I think he also had no idea.
Yeah.
And they really hit it out of the park. It was hilarious. Yeah.
But you've had instances where you feel you've made a mistake?
Sometimes.
That, oh, I should have chosen the other person. I think that person would have done a better job.
So, so much comes into play when an actor is being cast that most of the time they've up and out the character. So that's a very rare feeling.
Mm.
And maybe for a very small role of, say, office
Yeah.
colleague or something, I'm like, oh, but, a lot comes into play, once an actor is cast creatively, then we come to obviously dates and remuneration. Everything has to fall into
Mm.
place. Sometimes there are acts of God, and the shoot gets pushed, and so many things happen that eventually it's really kismet who plays the role.
Mm.
So one has to accept it,
So there
and
was a period,
mhm,
Nandini, of about 3 or 4 years, I think over the COVID period and
yeah,
maybe a little after, where the industry, I think, faced a few setbacks in terms of
yeah.
performance at box office, people not coming to the cinema to watch films. What was that period like for you?
Strangely, that was a very good time for casting people, because we are in pre-production, so that's
Mm.
before shoot. And everyone during the pandemic was very optimistic about the work they would get to once the pandemic was over. So we actually worked through the pandemic, and it was a very busy time. The dip actually happened for us after.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the biggest change you've seen, you would say, in the industry of the last 10 years?
The tech. I want to talk about casting because we used to have files and actors would travel from patani where all to meet you, give their photos. It's there in luck by chance. Na? Photos are given, you choose, you see the photos, you choose someone. And though it was very personal, and I met a lot of actors who were doing the rounds, and they'd be like Nandini ji, and so I remember them. I remember the first 7 years. I remember everyone I met. Then it gets a little, then it gets fuzzy. But but I like that people don't have to trudge. Bombay is a hard city, so I'm happy that they don't have to trudge around so much. They can connect via email. Post the pandemic, even the smaller roles, people can just do their auditions at home and send it. Like I said, I miss the personal touch, and sometimes we have to call someone in, but it's really good because it's a hard life here. People have homes that far away. They come to do one line to make that to get that job, and I didn't like that. It didn't feel balanced for me. So that's one thing I enjoy. It's become way more organized. It's become more comfortable. When I was an AD on Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, and those big sets that you see in the movies, the songs, Bole Churiya, that there wasn't. It was non-air conditioned, and like I don't want to sound like some spoiled princess, but can you imagine 300 people working on a set? It was super hot, and yet everyone would put their heads down and just get on it and do it. And I'm glad it's become a little more comfortable.
Okay. What about something like AI? You see short films on
Yeah.
the phone being shot.
And now vertical
videos.
Yeah, vertical videos, vertical shorts, they're called. Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone's saying that's the future.
Yeah, because those are doing so
Yeah.
well, and they absolutely have no budget,
Yeah.
right?
But I hope cinema never fades away, like going to the movie theaters. I know it comes and goes, and we never went in the 90s to a movie hall, but and our industry has its ups and downs. But I hope cinema is a constant because it's something to watch a film on a screen. Yeah,
I think sitting in a movie theater and the lights go down, and you're with your popcorn, and there's a community of people like laughing together and like crying together, and sort of it is an experience.
It's a different experience.
Yeah. What's an international show or movie? I'm not going to say India, but sure, I'll throw that in as well. That you've watched and you've said, God, I would have loved to cast for this.
Succession. Superb. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
What
telling you, this A.V.
characters?
Kaufman is very good.
Yeah. Succession is
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. It's an endless list, actually. Yeah.
So more shows then.
Oh, but you asked me what? I thought you asked me what shows.
Even
movies.
films. Yeah.
Bapre bap. So many good films. This year, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another. Every year, Poor Things.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. So you and Neil are both in this movie world.
Yeah.
Okay, with erratic timings, and
Yeah.
when you're on a project, you're on a project.
Yeah.
So you split your time with your son in that way, like you try and find sort of
I was very lucky. I had a casting partner for the last 7 years, so we were able to balance a lot of the time space conundrum very well, and I got to spend quality time with my son. Even now, Neil and I managed to tag team. I call it tag team, and then there's always the village.
Of course, the village.
The village is very supportive.
That's why India works so well.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have a great group of mummy friends.
Yeah.
Call them.
Lastly, a young boy or girl wants to get into casting.
Yeah.
What's the advice you'd give, Nandini?
Okay, so I'll say it here. I would say keep working on your craft. Do theater, do workshops, just keep at it. Don't sit at home and say, I'm waiting for my big break and I'm in my struggle phase and I don't know what to do. I'm actually working on a film that's been written by an aspiring actor. It's a small film that he wrote. and now it's going to be made into a movie and he's going to act in it. And I feel like you just keep at it, keep auditioning. um, don't hang around talking about, oh, these nepo kids have it easy and this and all. Just keep working on your craft, and at some point something wonderful will happen.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Is there a science to casting? Do you feel like if you're to create a module,
There's an instinct to casting. There's organization is the, but that's not science, that's just organization. And research,
Mhm.
would that come
Yeah,
into? Yeah,
absolutely.
that would come into it. And then there's an instinct.
Yeah. When you say research, you mean reference from similar
No,
roles?
no.
Okay.
Research as in keep your database constantly updated, and keep your eye on good actors, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all come through agencies,
So
or do they come just?
I have my own database. People get in touch via agencies. It's a big. I mean, there's lots and lots of ways to do it. Yeah.
Thank you. This was really informative.
I'm so
Loved
glad.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
superb. Thank you.
This was great.